Top 25 Developed and Developing Countries. Hello top listers, let's take a look at top 25 developed and developing countries. What defines a developed nation? A developed nation is one in which citizens have easy access to quality healthcare and education, advanced technology, and infrastructure. Diverse and well-balanced economic sectors such as manufacturing, services, and agriculture, and a relatively high GDP and GDP per capita. Developing countries. Brazil. GDP $1.61 trillion. Population 213.99 million. GDP per capita $7,518. HDI 0.754. Brazil is a developing country, despite having many of the characteristics of a developed country, such as the largest economy in South or Central America. Brazil is still classified as a developing country due to its lower GDP per capita, higher infant mortality rate, and other factors. Several factors contribute to all of these metrics, including lack of clean water, limited access to adequate healthcare, particularly in rural areas. Abysmal housing conditions in many regions and substandard diets. China. GDP $17.73 trillion. Population 1.41 billion. GDP per capita $12,556. HDI 0.768. China is a developing country, despite having the world's second-largest economy and the largest military. Most organizations do not consider China to be a developed country. In addition to having one of the lowest GDPs per capita on this list, China's reliance on agriculture, though this has been trending downward over time, indicates that the country is still developing. India. GDP $3.17 trillion. Population 1.39 billion. GDP per capita $2,277. HDI 0.633. India is a developing country, despite being an exceptionally wealthy country ranked 6th in terms of overall GDP. India, like China, has a relatively low GDP per capita. The Republic of India is both a newly industrialized country and one of the world's fastest developing. However, the country continues to struggle with issues such as widespread poverty, inadequate water and sanitation, and overpopulation. India's economy is diverse, ranging from traditional farming to modern agriculture, handicrafts to a wide range of industrial products. India is a major exporter of IT services, business outsourcing services, and software workers due to its large and well-educated English-speaking population. Indonesia. GDP $1.12 trillion. Population 276.36 million. GDP per capita $4,291. HDI 0.705. Indonesia is a developing country. The Republic of Indonesia is the world's most populous Muslim-majority country and the largest economy in Southeast Asia. Rubber, animal and vegetable fat, mineral fuels, machinery, electrical machinery, and mechanical appliance parts are among the most important exports of the country. The fact that Indonesia is located within the Pacific Ring of Fire, which is responsible for 90% of earthquakes and 75% of the world's active volcanoes, distinguishes the country's quality of life. In addition to natural disaster risks, the country faces challenges more common in developing countries, with 18 million Indonesians lacking safe drinking water, 20 million lacking access to improved sanitation facilities, and 22.9 million unable to meet their dietary needs. Mexico. GDP $1.30 trillion. Population 130.26 million. GDP per capita $9,926. HDI 0.758. Mexico is a developing country. Mexico's development status is despite the fact that it outperforms the majority of its developing world peers on most economic and quality of life indicators. In fact, according to the CIA World Factbook, Mexico's economy was only 3.6% reliant on agriculture, while its services and industry sectors were significantly larger. Several other factors approach, but do not quite reach, acceptable levels for developed nation status. Furthermore, large swaths of Mexico are impoverished, there is a lack of quality healthcare, and there is limited access to clean water. Saudi Arabia. GDP $833.54 billion. Population 35.34 million. GDP per capita $23,585. HDI 0.875. Saudi Arabia is a developing country. In terms of pure monetary success, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia outperforms other developing countries. In terms of GDP, it was the largest economy in the Middle East in 2021, however, its economy lacks diversification. Oil exports account for more than 87% of government revenue, making Saudi Arabia the world's largest petroleum exporter. South Korea. GDP $1.80 trillion. Population 51.74 million. GDP per capita $34,757. HDI 0.925. South Korea is a developing country. The country has a high GDP and provides its citizens with widespread access to high-quality healthcare and education. The Republic of Korea has become a high-technology and industrialized nation as a result of several decades of rapid economic growth and global integration. With its most important sectors being electronics, telecommunications, automobile production, chemicals, shipbuilding, and steel. Thailand. GDP $505.98 billion. Population 69.95 million. GDP per capita $7,233. HDI 0.800. Thailand is a developing country. Thailand has the second largest economy in Southeast Asia. Thailand has a free market economy and a reasonably developed infrastructure. Exports of electronics, agricultural commodities, automobiles and parts, processed foods, and other goods account for roughly 2/3 of the country's GDP. Turkey. GDP $815.27 billion. Population 85.04 million. GDP per capita $9,586. HDI 0.838. Turkey is a developing country. Turkey is perhaps the best example of a country that is both developed and developing. Previously, the UN classified it as a developed country. Most groups, including Turkey, now agree that the country is a developing nation. In transition country. Russia. GDP $1.78 trillion. Population 143.45 million. GDP per capita $12,172. HDI 0.822. Russia is a country in transition. Russia is not currently classified as a developed country, despite having once reigned as a world superpower alongside the United States. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 shattered the country's economy. Recently, the country's war on Ukraine has had a negative impact on its economy as a result of sanctions imposed by other countries. Developed countries. Australia. GDP $1.54 trillion. Population 25.74 million. GDP per capita $59,934. HDI 0.951. Australia is a developed country. The land down under has widespread industrialization and the majority of its citizens have access to high-quality healthcare. Australians also have a higher quality of life than people in other countries, according to the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development (OECD). With citizens rating their life satisfaction at 7.5 out of 10, which is slightly higher than the global average of 6.7. Australia is one of the wealthiest Asia-Pacific countries, with several years of economic growth under its belt. Belgium. GDP $599.88 billion. Population 11.59 million. GDP per capita $51,767. HDI 0.937. Belgium is a developed country. The Kingdom of Belgium has a life satisfaction rating of 6.5. According to the CIA World Factbook, the services sector accounted for 77.2% of the country's GDP. Belgium lacks natural resources, making it heavily reliant on raw material imports. However, given its central geographic location, well-developed transportation network, and diverse industrial and commercial base, the country is well suited to act as a major exporter of manufactured goods. Canada. GDP $1.99 trillion. Population 38.25 million. GDP per capita $52,051. HDI 0.936. Canada is a developed country. Canada has a diverse economic base as the world's 9th largest economy by GDP. It is rich in natural resources such as oil, gas, and coal. As a result, the country can meet its own energy needs while also exporting natural resources to other countries. Despite this, Canada is a world leader in the production and use of renewable energy sources, which account for approximately 18.9% of the country's overall energy supply, with moving water accounting for 59.3%. Canada's proximity to the United States, as well as a favorable exchange rate, have all contributed to the country's strong manufacturing climate. Canadians have universal healthcare coverage, with all residents receiving free medical care through a government-run program. France. GDP $2.94 trillion. Population 67.50 million. GDP per capita $43,518. HDI 0.903. France is a developed country. The French Republic is a global economic powerhouse. France will have the 7th largest GDP in 2021. The country has a diverse economy that includes tourism, manufacturing, and pharmaceuticals. The French government has partially or completely privatized many well-known companies, despite maintaining a strong presence in the power, public transportation, and defense sectors. The French healthcare system combines universal access to care with a substantial amount of freedom for patients, with surveys showing that citizens are overall satisfied with their country's system. Germany. GDP, $4.22 trillion. Population, 83.13 million. GDP per capita, $50,801. HDI, 0.942. Germany is a developed country. Germany is Europe's strongest economy and the world's fourth largest economy, thanks to its highly skilled labor force. The country is well known for producing high-quality goods such as machinery, automobiles, electronics, and pharmaceuticals. In 2019, Germany was the world's second-largest surplus economy, trailing only China, with exports exceeding imports. However, due to rising energy and food prices, this will change in 2021 for the first time since 1991. German citizens have access to universal healthcare. All Germans must be members of a non-profit sickness fund that covers the majority of necessary medical procedures and medications. Ireland. GDP, $498.56 billion. Population, 5 million. GDP per capita, $99,152. HDI, 0.945. Ireland is a developed country. Ireland has the world's fifth highest GDP per capita, owing to its relatively high GDP and small population. Because of favorable tax treatment, large, multinational corporations have established themselves in the country. The country is primarily a service economy, accounting for 60% of GDP. Agriculture accounts for the remaining 39% of GDP. Italy GDP, $2.10 trillion. Population, 59.10 million. GDP per capita, $35,551. HDI, 0.895. Italy is a developed country. According to the World Economic Forum, Italy's manufacturing industry is the seventh most developed in the world. Italy, in particular, is known for producing high-quality luxury goods such as fashion accessories, expensive automobiles, and food products. Nearly 74% of Italian workers are employed in the services sector, with agriculture accounting for just over 2%, indicating that this country is developed. Italy ranks 8th in the world in terms of overall GDP. The modern commercial banking industry began in Italy, and Intesa Sanpaolo, the country's largest financial services company, is regularly ranked on the Fortune 500 list. Japan. GDP, $4.94 trillion. Population, 125.67 million. GDP per capita, $39,285. HDI, 0.925. Japan is a developed country. Despite its smaller size in comparison to other economically healthy countries such as Germany or France, Japan ranks third in terms of overall GDP. Almost 70% of the workforce was employed in the services sector, with agriculture accounting for approximately 1.1%. The archipelago is heavily reliant on natural resource imports. And it is the world's largest net buyer of food, the world's largest importer of liquefied natural gas (LNG), and the world's third largest coal importer. The Netherlands. GDP, $1.02 trillion. Population, 17.53 million. GDP per capita, $58,061. HDI, 0.941. The Netherlands is a developed country. According to the OECD, the Netherlands does a good job of providing its citizens with the tools they need to live a high-quality life. Although the country's environmental quality is below average, residents' health and life expectancy are comparable to that of other developed countries. In terms of work-life balance, the Netherlands ranks very high, with nearly 0% of residents reporting that they work long hours, compared to the global average of 10%. Poland. GDP, $674.05 billion. Population, 37.78 million. GDP per capita, $17,840. HDI, 0.876. Poland is a developed country. As of 2020, the Republic of Poland is the EU's sixth largest economy by GDP. Until 1989, the country was a Soviet satellite state, but it has nearly completed its transition to a democratic and market-oriented economy. Poland is expected to quickly recover from the COVID-19 pandemic due to its strong economy. Poland, like many other developed countries, provides free healthcare and higher education to its citizens. The country also has 17 properties on the UNESCO World Heritage List, with only one not being a cultural site. Spain. GDP, $1.43 trillion. Population, 47.33 million. GDP per capita, $30,115. HDI, 0.905. Spain is a developed country. Almost all organizations that assess development status label Spain as such. The country has a high GDP, a literacy rate of over 98%, and one of the best healthcare systems in the world. Spain has become the Eurozone's fourth largest economy since returning to a democratic system in 1975, with a diverse range of industries including manufacturing, financial services, pharmaceuticals, textiles and apparel, footwear, chemicals, and tourism. Sweden. GDP, $627.44 billion. Population, 10.42 million. GDP per capita, $60,239. HDI, 0.947. Sweden is a developed country. Sweden has one of the world's most advanced post-industrial societies. Sweden has an 82-year-old life expectancy, and infant mortality is 2 deaths per 1,000 live births. Despite having the world's highest income tax rate. Sweden is also known for having a high quality of life and a low unemployment rate of around 8.7% in 2021. Swedish citizens also have free access to healthcare and higher education. The average Swede has nearly 20 years of schooling. Sweden, as a society, places a high value on environmental sustainability. Switzerland. GDP, $812.87 billion. Population, 8.70 million. GDP per capita, $93,457. HDI, 0.962. Switzerland is a developed country. Switzerland has the 6th highest GDP per capita and the 2nd highest of the countries on this list, according to the World Bank. This is due to the country's highly skilled labor force, which helps compensate for the country's smaller population. Financial services, precision manufacturing, metals, pharmaceuticals, chemicals, and electronics are the country's most important economic sectors. Switzerland maintains a private market while providing universal healthcare. United Kingdom. GDP, $3.19 trillion. Population, 67.33 million. GDP per capita, $47,334. HDI, 0.929. The United Kingdom is a developed country. In 2020, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland was the fifth largest country by GDP, with the United Kingdom being the first industrialized country in history. The services sector, particularly banking, insurance, and business services, is heavily reliant on GDP growth, while large oil and natural gas reserves are depleting. In 2016, British citizens voted to leave the European Union, a decision that became known as Brexit. The United Kingdom formally left the European Union on January 31, 2020. But there was no formal trade agreement between the two entities until a provisional one was approved by the European Parliament on April 28, 2021. United States. GDP, $23.00 trillion. Population, 331.89 million. GDP per capita, $69,287. HDI, 0.921. The United States is a developed country. As of 2021, the United States was the wealthiest country on the planet in terms of total GDP, accounting for 24% of global wealth. The United States is the world's largest trading nation because it is both the largest importer and the second largest exporter of goods. Furthermore, as of 2021, America has the world's third largest military in terms of personnel. Despite its wealth and high HDI score, the United States has been heavily criticized for characteristics more common in developing countries, such as being the only developed country without universal health care, having a poverty rate higher than any other industrialized nation, and infrastructure in desperate need of repair and overhaul. A wealthy country is not necessarily a developed one. It is difficult to quantify the difference between developed and developing countries. Although gross domestic product GDP is one of the most well-known measures of economic health, a variety of other metrics can also be used to assess a country's progress. When determining whether a country is an advanced economy, an emerging market and developing economy, or a low-income developing country. The International Monetary Fund IMF considers a number of factors. The World Bank measures GDP per capita and divides the world into four categories: high-income economies, upper-middle-income economies, lower-middle-income economies, and low-income economies. The Human Development Index (HDI) is a metric developed by the United Nations that is used to assess countries' social and economic development levels based on life expectancy, educational attainment, and income, and it serves as an alternative means of determining a country's development status. Thanks for spending some of your valuable time with us today, top listers. If you liked this one, please give us a like, hit that bell icon to never miss an upload, and don't forget to subscribe. See you later.